again, and welcome back to the Cloud Chalet. I'm joined again by Grant and Tom. So this week we're going to pick back up on our discussion around private cloud. And I want to ask you chaps, applications, they're increasingly being developed to be cloud native. What does that mean and why is it important?
Well, I think to start with, if you go back to kind of a more traditional application, so your more monolithic application, so use these snowballs.
Oh, here we go.
So I've got, what happens when I need to apply a security update over here, or this bit over here needs updating for whatever reason,
and then tasks.
Before you know it, you've just got tasks everywhere.
Another task, Tom.
Another task, another one, Tom.
Another one, Tom. Tom, sorry.
Yeah. Oh dear, I do believe your balls have dropped there, Tom.
Exactly that. And with cloud native applications, you're able to develop each component of those applications individually. So you don't need to worry about updating the entire thing or having to scale the entire piece. Just the areas that are important can be scaled and developed against. It also gives the capability that you can have different teams working on the different components, and they don't always have to be working at the same pace. So you can update certain elements and not others.
Yeah, then it means that these teams aren't siloed, so to that point they're all fully immersed into what they're doing. Effectively, I suppose it's coined as a DevOps culture, isn't it? The development team and the operational team work hand in hand, rather than traditionally the development team would decide what needs to be done with a monolithic application, throw it at the operational team and expect them to manage it. In this instance, with it being cloud native, you have that, as Tom was saying, this ease of ability to update each component independently.
So how does Nutanix support this shift?
So Nutanix has a number of tools that we have to enable us to support cloud native applications. So we have an automation and orchestration tool. We have a platform that enables us to run containers. So from a kind of cloud native perspective, what you can do is you can develop the applications in such a way that actually they can be deployed on premise in a cloud native fashion, but also when it comes to deploying them into the public cloud, whichever your business chooses, you have the capability to then deploy them as a blueprint directly from the tool.
Yeah, and on top of that, we also have a tool, Nutanix have a tool that allows you, once you've deployed it on the cloud or kept it on premises on Nutanix, we can tell you how much it's costing you to run it on that platform, so you get a full breakdown, because when you get a bill from these cloud providers, it's not generally broken down into business units, it's just giving you an amount of compute and storage you've consumed, now pay us the money. And we have a tool that will allow you to at least tag and do some chargeback to that as well. Plus on top of that, it will allow you to understand the security around it. We've mentioned this before, really, just because you lift and shift it and you have just put it, say, in one particular region, for instance, the UK, doesn't mean you've secured it correctly or created it so it does run across different regions if something were to happen to the UK cloud region across there. We've got those products around it.
So it sounds like there's different products to cover those different areas. Does this all sit on top of an underlying platform, or are they separate technologies?
So again, from a choice perspective, we have a number of different options. So we have the capability that actually you can spin up a Nutanix cluster in the public cloud, which you can then deploy applications against with the same interface, the same APIs, etc., that you use in the Nutanix world. But we also want to be able to leverage, and I'm looking at me and Grant, I mean, Nutanix as a company wants to be able to leverage the fact that these public clouds have their own APIs, and actually it would be wrong of us to try and replicate exactly what they're doing. So we have the capability to leverage those APIs natively and deploy applications into whichever cloud that you choose.
So how do you work out which applications you develop as cloud native? What should be and what shouldn't be developed as cloud native?
Yeah, it's a fair question. So the cloud native components on it, maybe those bursty workloads, stuff that you need to scale out for a seasonal activity.
Spoke about web servers last week.
We did indeed, and that's a really good example. But I'd possibly almost say that if you have the time and the workforce behind you to do it, you could pretty much orchestrate or automate any application to be cloud native. But sadly, so some of these businesses out there that we certainly speak to, they can't do that. They've got applications that were written many years ago, possibly don't have any support around them anymore, run on an old OS which is no longer supported by the vendor as well, and therefore they're not ideal for a cloud native infrastructure because somebody has to pick apart exactly how that application can be orchestrated and created to run on a cloud platform. So yeah, it's all about time, I think, more than anything else.
Okay.
Everything could be cloud native, just got to really put the effort into it.
But you highlighted quite a common issue where sometimes organisations are scared to change because the OS is so old and the hardware is so old and they're out of support and they feel like they've got some handcuffs on and they can't change the environment because they're at risk of it falling over. What do you advise to organisations in that situation?
So I think the easiest piece is kind of choose the low-hanging fruit. Choose those applications that are your most modern, where you have the support, you can kind of easily pick apart the different components. You understand how they're talking to each other, what dependencies they have, and enable your IT teams to get comfortable with it. Because it's not the same as building applications 10, 15 years ago. It is very different and it's changing all of the time. So being able to kind of let your guys get hands-on with it, kind of play around with the different tool sets that are available, and then start to kind of go after the more kind of difficult, the bigger kind of applications that are going to be much more complicated to pick apart.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth there. Great example, Tom. I mean, it's that classic start small and then work big.
Yeah.
If you go and tackle the hard one straight away, it's going to put everybody off working through the other ones after that. Tom's right, start with the low-hanging fruit.
So thanks, guys. Solid advice.
Thank you.
So look, that wraps up our discussion around private cloud. Join us again next time where we'll be tackling databases. Bye for now.